You're listening to Power Athlete Radio, a podcast dedicated to empowering your performance every damn day. Join former NFL pro and Power Athlete founder John Welbourn as he dissects the greatest minds in strength, conditioning, and more. Joining him is everyone's favorite coach and hair model, Chris, aka Tex McQuilkin, Power Athlete's Director of Performance. So whether your goal is to be the hammer, destroy mediocrity, or simply move the dirt, you've come to the right place. Now with the warm-up done, let the gains begin.
This episode is part of our Move the Dirt series, designed to empower you with the tools to move towards your goals. Move the dirt is something we say a lot here at Power Athlete. The dirt is the dirt. It's that lazy, fearful, bitch mode voice in your head that says too tired, too busy, too old, too injured, too whatever. You can't reason with it, but you can move it. Some days you get a big-ass shovel in your hands and it's easy. You're strong, you're motivated, you're king of the world. But some days you get a spoon, and you still got to show up and move that shit anyway, rep by rep, spoon by spoon. So long as you're moving a little dirt every day, you're digging in the right direction. If you're sick of the dirt dominating you and you want to be master of your own self, walk the Power Athlete path with us. Visit powerathletehq.com/training and start moving the dirt today.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Power Athlete Radio. I'm John Welbourn. I'm joined by Mr. McQuilkin. Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you too, founder and 10-year NFL veteran, John Welbourn.
I think
CEO. What did I forget?
Liver of life, master of
lover and laugher.
Live, laugh, love.
Uh-huh.
Nice. So what's going on, man?
Well, we're gearing up for the new year. I'm excited for our holiday season here and to shut down for the year because we've worked very hard. We've accomplished a lot, and now we get a little bit of a breather. So this podcast is gearing up for the new you. I know you're a big resolutionist.
Here's the data. 80% of nutrition resolutions fail after just 1 month. What we help make happen is you moving the dirt past February 1st. So here's the deal. If you want to attack the year with purpose, stay the course, and hit your goals, you need Power Athlete programming. It's been battle tested at the highest level and gets results for every level of athlete. As a special offer this January, if you commit to the cause for a year, you get the full Power Athlete experience for less than $1 a day with an extra $200 of content for free, a one-on-one consultation to help you set your goals, and a nutrition protocol of your choice. Visit powerathletehq.com/training and start moving the dirt today. Well, I'm not necessarily a big resolutionist fan. Shocker. I know you guys find it hard to believe that New Year's resolutions aren't my deal, but I am a fan of new beginnings. And
Is that the new feminine hygiene spray?
No, but whether it be like cleaning out a garage, throwing away a bunch of crap that you don't wear, like going through and collecting the hundreds of black T-shirts that I've accumulated over the years, or even just over the year, and throwing them out. There's like a sense of, I don't know, it's just cathartic. It really just helps you just kind of fucking throw it all away and start new. So I do like the new year for the fact that, 2023, we're out with the old, in with the new, and we have the opportunity to make some interesting life changes. And more importantly, it offers us a time to reflect upon the past. In years past, I used to sit down and do a blog post and, what I'd learned in that year, what I'd learned in years previous, kind of culminating at that point. Now we just do bitchin' podcasts on it and here at Power Athlete Radio. So like we're going to do today.
Well, this is how they used to do these, John. Spoken word. So we're getting back to the olden days and your roots in philosophy by speaking to what you've learned.
Every time you say the word spoken word, I think of Henry Rollins went and did all that spoken word poetry. And at Berkeley, they used to do, these poets would get up and do spoken word. Yeah, the total beatnik thing. So every time you say it, I laugh, thinking about sitting at Strata Coffee, listening to somebody pontificate about, Jack Kerouac, if you own a rug, you own too much.
Yeah, it just makes me think of the Kenny Powers audiobook is probably the greatest literature of my time.
I'm not familiar with it.
Oh, my God. Well, go ahead and YouTube, anyone out there, Kenny Powers audiobook after this podcast, of course, because we have some incredible knowledge to drop. And this is the first in a series of podcasts on Power Athlete Radio. We're getting into the series game. and we're focusing on moving the dirt.
I mean, it's become something of a mantra around Power Athlete. I mean, we've got cups. Texas got a shirt on with it. The Move the Dirt deal, on occasion, people will tag me in that original podcast that was on, what was it, Barbell Shrugged many, many years ago. The first time I ever dropped that analogy. But that Move the Dirt thing has become much more than just training. It's become much more than just moving a pile of dirt. I think for 2022 and 23, and as I've been really thinking about this statement that I made many, many years ago on Barbell Shrugged, moving dirt without a plan is just flinging dirt around in a random pattern. You know, we talked about like the training in terms of like, here's a pile, moving one pile. Some days you get a shovel, some days you get a spoon. It has to be a little more directed than that. You have to.
We've also spoke to that as, you know, working out versus training.
Yeah.
We just burning calories, or we have a bigger purpose here.
Yeah. So, you know, the effort that you push forth every single day is going to be dictated by many things. It could be sleep, it could be performance, it could be family stress, it could be business. I mean, a million things. Like the amount of bandwidth that you have in a single day is really pretty, at least for me, I wish it was infinite, but it's not. Like I only have, you know, let's say I sleep 6, 7 hours, 8 hours, let's say I sleep 8 hours, right? It means I have 16 hours a day to accomplish as much as I want to accomplish, right? Like, so your bandwidth is pretty well set. You know, you got a wife, you got a kids, you got all these things to manage, and adding new things, there's not really capacity to do it because something else has to give. But sometimes you have to. We get approached by Shandi Ribeiro from Six Blades about working with his fighters, and the expectation, you know, these are some of the top jiu-jitsu players in the world. These guys are world-class athletes, professional athletes, and having them come in and realizing that they're beginners or white belts in the training space, realizing that the majority of people that we're going to encounter are novices in the form of training in which we do. And that was extremely impactful for me because when he suggested, hey, I need you to work with, you know, would you work with these guys? I was like, I'd love to. It's a new athlete that we're not necessarily familiar with. 2, it's a very interesting sport for me. If these guys are going to humble themselves to come train with me, I have to humble myself to go train with them. I have to learn stuff. And if they're going to be sharp enough to show up and give us effort, I got to go learn their stuff. So I started training with those guys, and that's been extremely humbling because the skill set I have from, you know, obviously playing football and fighting and just boxing and all the stuff that I do is very ground-based, very foot-based. And now here's something where you start on the ground, and it's very humbling and very equaling, and it's very technical. And it's been extremely impactful for me just for the fact that I have to go learn a new skill. Feeling like, hey, you know what, my conditioning isn't as good as it needs to be, and I'm probably a little bigger than I need to be. So now all of a sudden I got something to train for, and then I got these fighters coming in where, you know, we got to match wits with them, and they're constantly like, hey, come train. And one of the things I don't want to do is I don't want to gas because I don't want them to gas. So then realizing like, dude, I gotta trim down. I'm too big. And then also I got to up my conditioning. So I've been doing a ton more zone 2, more Tabata, more high-end conditioning stuff, whereas before we did a little bit just for health, but really pushing it that way, and then obviously having something to test where now we're going in and using it.
So sticking with the move the dirt concept here and bandwidth, and you only have so much time and focus. Well, this is the beauty of where you need to essentially have a plan, write a goal, and then you need to dedicate dirt move daily to said goal. So whether it's commitment to family and being the man, the figure, the identity that they need to continue to grow and strive to, you still have your conditioning. You still got your weightlifting. Then you got your charity and your business and this. So it's mindful that you have all these that need your responsibility, your effort, your support, but this task, I need a shovel today because we got a deadline.
Yep.
This task I can commit a spoon to, and we can just get some effort done on the bike, 20 minutes, because I got 2 hours of coaching, then I got 14 hours of podcasting. Just kidding. And then family time.
Well, the Move the Dirt has extended itself, and we're not just moving dirt. It's moving dirt with a plan. You got to have a plan for your nutrition. That's something that has become not only, it's always been a focus in my life. There's always been some form of pre-designed eating. I've never been real good at just like free eating, because I'll end up kind of like not eating and then eating too much. And I'm not real good in terms of like black box.
Explain.
Have you ever met people that never balance their checkbook?
What's a checkbook, John?
Or just never reconcile their account at the end of the month. So you're like, I kind of hope I have enough money in there. I think I do. I think I put some deposits. I don't really live very well in gray space with not only my bank account, but also with food. So I do much better when I have an accurate understanding of like how many calories I'm going to consume in something. Just for the fact that like, I just don't like gray area with it. So I think having a plan for nutrition has been important. I mean, everybody that we've worked with for the remote coach or for the individuals or that even follows a Power Athlete program, if they have some nutrition plan in place, now whether it be one of the templates we use or a performance that we design or even something, from somebody else, as long as they have a plan on how they're going to eat and more importantly, how they're going to try to arrange their food, I feel that they make pretty accurate, they'll meet their goals. So I think there is a nutrition plan. I think you got to have a training plan too. I've done this for many years too, where so my training plan, and people always ask me what training you're doing. I'm usually testing something for something that's coming up. So we just got done doing the rest pause cycles in Jack Street. So I tested a bunch of rest pause. Now I'm testing a every other day full body training program that's kind of goes, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, and kind of so you get 3 days and then 4 days in alters, so that you can push the conditioning, put your sport, whether it be jiu-jitsu, whatever it is, in there.
Is this a future grindstone?
It might be a future standalone. I have 3 programs that I'm working with in the jiu-jitsu space. One is basically like your white belt, and then the next one would be like blue belt, and then like there'd be like a purple, brown, kind of black belt kind of deal, almost 3 different levels, and not necessarily based on what belt you are, but like your exposure to time.
Your training age, we'll call it.
Training age.
In the gym, not necessarily on the mats.
But something to pair with your jits.
Right.
So when I sat down and just really dug into what people are doing for strength conditioning in the jits world, it's really varied. And, sitting there talking to Sean Diaton. The other thing that's been very impactful for me, as Victor's and these guys have been preparing for Worlds coming up here in December, they'll constantly be sending me different like classic fights. So
well, you're jumping ahead. So if you want to know more on Power Athlete's take in preparation for the combat sports, jiu-jitsu, MMA, check out Power Athlete Radio episode 665. But sticking with the Move the Dirt, how much time, energy you have, and many people, let's say nutrition or training is not their priority, and kids soccer or work and XYZ and going out and social, all these things, they push training and nutrition down to where it becomes too late.
I so disagree with that one, because I've done that. I've prioritized work and all these other things over not only maybe the nutrition or the training piece, and all that happens is I end up feeling worse about myself. Even with the JIT stuff, when those guys when they started coming training, they were like, when he coming to train with us, looking at the schedule and trying to figure out where I could get this thing in, there was a million reasons to not do it. And the problem is if you don't prioritize your health, prioritize, what like the bucket that you need filled. For me, it wasn't necessarily the physical one, and because I can, we still have obviously a gym and train and do all that, but actually the education piece and the intricacies of learning something new, humbling yourself and realizing I don't know shit, teach me something. And then being able to kind of get into that student education, learning mindset. And that I don't think is ever something that you can push to the bottom and ever feel good. So what I do really enjoy about this is it's very technical. It's like a physical chess master in a lot of ways. And, you in the beginning only have a very, very small skill set. And as time goes on, you develop a large skill set. The skill set that I have is I have this power button. Imagine you're playing a video game and you can kind of hit a button that goes superpower, which effectively allows you to get out of anything. I have the ability to go superpower at any point. Because one, I have pretty quick, pretty athletic, and pretty strong, so I can get out of a lot of shit. And even when people are trying to get me in stuff, I have the ability to kind of fight or stay away. And so I have to almost humble myself and not use my power button and realize that I have to either get choked out or I have to get into a bad position so that I can humble myself to learn the technique and, more importantly, learn from my bad decisions. And that's been very, very humbling, where in my head I constantly think, like, don't go superpower, just like let it happen and try to use the technique and try to be better.
And that experience on the mats, it also has sparked you to revalue education and learning.
Yeah.
So with what little time you have, investing in appropriate podcasts, books on tape, etc., to continue to actually expand, versus a lot of the materials and I know I want to save this term for you, but a lot of the podcast materials that exist,
a
lot of the potential books,
you're
not wasting your time with CW TV shows anymore. I'm so proud of you. You've grown up.
That was during COVID.
Because you finished them all.
No, we were during COVID. What did we watch? We watched The Arrow and The Flash.
We Goose?
That was my kids.
Okay.
And I couldn't let him watch it by himself. So I've always viewed reading, especially the classics, as my opportunity to have a conversation with the smartest people that walked on the planet. The issue comes down to it's very one-dimensional, and you're absorbing information, and then as you're absorbing this information, and whether it be I don't know, Marcus Aurelius Seneca, I did that talk on antiquity for the collective. There's no ability for me to raise my hand and launch back. So I've kind of taken a different approach, and also in terms of sharpening the blade for our own podcast. We've been doing this thing a long time. We have hundreds of episodes.
Yes, we're coming up on 10 years. Power Athlete Radio's birthday is 2023, 10-year anniversary coming up, so expect something special.
So when I started this podcast, or when we started this podcast, or when I started coming on this podcast, for me it was about increasing my genealogy, meeting interesting people, and hopefully having bitching conversations. It was very organic in many ways. And I almost took a very Larry King approach, where I wanted to be curious. I wanted to, I didn't want to drive it in a certain way. I wanted to just let things happen organically, wanted to have organic conversations and just kind of connect with people in this very innocent kind of way. And I took that mindset for a long time.
Like you're sitting next to somebody in an airplane.
Yeah.
You just pop down and, oh, hello.
And like we would do, I tried not to over-research. If somebody had a book, we read it because I knew we were going to talk about it, and I don't want to feel like a moron. But I tried to make for a very organic conversation. And as I started listening to more and more podcasts, not only for presentation, but intros and how other people are doing it, the one thing that was very clear is selfishly, I was looking to these podcasts for certain pieces. I wanted to learn something. There was something specific that I'm going to. I just wasn't going to be entertained. And there's a ton of junk food podcasts where
essentially you don't walk away learning anything. You're not a better because of it.
It's just education. And
it's like that Housewives television.
Yeah. I'm sorry, it's audio. Not education. It's
spoken word.
It's entertainment. And people are looking to be distracted. I got a 3-hour drive or a 30-minute drive, and I just plug in, and now I can turn off. And those have zero appeal to me. I want to either be educated, I want to learn something, I want to engage in something that is different than what I do, and more importantly, I want to sharpen my blade and be educated on something else. So the ability to be able to plug in and learn about either something that's very relevant in my life or something that's new and novel to me is appealing. So as I've, progressed on this podcast, obviously we've redone the podcast room. We've, made changes and whatnot. I mean, we've tried to up our own game, but realizing that.
Yeah. And a coach needs a coach.
Yeah.
I think an important professional step that we took, we did get a communications coach to take us to school. Yeah, I think it's I valued it.
No, I thought it was good. Anytime you can get feedback, useful feedback, even on my presentation style. I go back and listen to this stuff, a lot of filler words. And the issue I run into is my brain works real fast. And so instead of just taking pauses and thinking through things, I just ended up just junk words, sound like shit. So I really would like to not only just up my game, but I think it's just not moving dirt. I think you got to have a plan, whether it be for whatever you're doing, whether it be training. I mean, I got to eat. So I should have a plan for nutrition. If I'm going to work out and I'm going to train, I should have a plan. Just like when I go to jits to roll, I'm very proactive. What are we learning today? Where does this fit in? How is this going to help me? I'm just not randomly showing up hoping to learn a skill. I want to know the progression. And I'm sure they fucking hate me.
No.
No, but that's a big piece. I want to know what skills do I need to progress? How do I show mastery? And more importantly, how do I build upon the skill set that I have so that I can be, more efficient at this? And then taking some of my NFL knowledge in terms of mastery and applying it. Like film study is extremely important, always was. Having a plan, knowing what the curriculum is, making sure you have good training partners, making sure that they're clued in and being able to give you real world feedback. So I think putting a little plan in place, just not randomly showing up, hoping, just like people digging into the podcast, randomly hoping for something good. I think you have to be a little selfish in going in and saying, hey, this is what I want out of this experience, and this is the plan that I have, and then working with individuals to help you execute it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the aim. We don't want our listeners to be random children who wanders into the middle of a movie theater.
Yeah. Well, and
out
then,
of their element.
And then personally for me, the one thing, like we talked about a little bit earlier, for somebody that trains as much as we do, I felt that my conditioning wasn't what it needed to be. Not that I necessarily gas, but I should be able to go in and do multiple classes. I should be able to embrace this thing and be able to perform at a high level at all points. And I was feeling like I was gassing out. So you know what? All I do, instead of hoping that I'm going to get the training or the consistency there, I have to supplement the training, which I know how. The one interesting observation too that I've made, especially for guys in our classes and the guys that I've been rolling with, dudes in their 20s, not so much, when guys get in their 30s and 40s and even some of the older guys, lack of durability. The reason we lift weights and the reason we stay in shape and the reason we do all these training, whether it be, something dynamic, everything from rotation, med ball, swing kettlebells, lift heavy weights. I mean, everything that we do with plyometrics and jumping and running, I mean, everything within the power athlete space, there is an underlining effect of durability. And to be able to go in and roll and compete, and I'm very fortunate in that, a bunch of color belts show up to my class, I think, to try to take a fucking piece out of me, which I appreciate. But the ability to be durable, where I can continue to do this stuff day in and day out and I don't get hurt. And then seeing some other guys with weird like ab injuries and this and just a lot of nagging shit. And it's because, one, they're not doing what they need to do outside of the gym in terms of conditioning, and they're not banging weights and staying as strong as possible.
And not just banging weights, it's following well thought out, organized strength and conditioning programs, because there are people that go out there and go to the gym and go to group fitness classes. They're checking the box, but they're not following an appropriate plan for their training age or their goal, and that's where they get dinged up. And this is something I'm passionate about. Somebody theoretically should never get hurt in training.
Yeah.
So it will happen on the field, in contact sports, or on the mat. It's impossible if we got that open loop. But then if we're in training and it's progressive and it's building towards something, we should never get hurt. And this goes speaking to a lot of our group fitness followers out there.
But this also falls back to, working with Victor and Arash and the guys. I mean, these guys are professional athletes that compete in this stuff, and they're still beginners within the training space for us. And yet they have been going to the gym. Because those guys have been going to the gym, and yet they come in and the training is very different. Like the game plan and what we know in terms of physiology and being able to pull out and maximize athleticism, increase human potential, and really push the boundaries of what we know is possible, that becomes a deciding factor. And that happens with a well thought out plan. You're just not going to randomly stumble upon that.
No, just sets of 10 at some magazine or some workout you found in a magazine. But if you want to know more about specific training programs and goals, head to powerathletehq.com/training and take our training program quiz to find the right one for you. All of this is leading towards our next, or your big resolution for 2023.
It's not necessarily a resolution, but just something that I've observed for myself personally. I need something to compete in.
Yes.
I have to have something to compete in. And
put the training to the test.
Well, there has to be something in the future with a definitive mark to say this is the culmination of what I'm working for. This idea of like, I just want to be 8% body fat. Well, what happens when you're 8% body fat or 6% body fat? Then what? Okay, like there is no after that. Like, are you getting in shape for a fitness show? Or are you trying to do bodybuilding? Or are you trying to do figure or physique or something? Like there has to be a day that you step on stage or on the mat or in the cage or whatever it is. Whether it be I want to run 100 miles or hunt or take a big elk. I mean, there has to be some culmination. And we've worked with a ton of hunters and guys that were, trying to give themselves amazing tasks to execute in the hunting space. Like I got this hunt I'm going to go to in Alaska and I want to do this. Like there's a very small window to prepare for. And I believe as an individual, you have to set those goals to compete. Now, whether it be, you against an individual, you against, something within a competition, you against, your own body in terms of getting in shape, or, you against some task. I believe that for me personally, as a retired ex-veteran NFL player, there was always a deal that on the third week of July, I had to show up to training camp and I had to be in shape. The training had to culminate at that point. And then once I got there was another goal: get through the preseason, then get to the season, and get to the playoffs. And so then all of a sudden, once you met that one goal, there was a series of more goals that you met. And for the last bunch of years, my goal has just been like, hey, I'm going to go and lift some weights. I'm testing all these different training programs. And one thing, of any of you guys that ever came to the old CrossFit football seminar, what was the one thing I said when we got to programming? If you're a chef that won't eat your own cooking, if you're a coach, if you're a coach that won't do your own programming, I don't need you. I only need individuals that are willing to undertake. I would never ask an athlete to do something I wouldn't ask them to do myself. For all of our training programs, there's always a bunch of research on the front side. We're always testing them, doing different stuff. So I had this feeling that I was kind of leading from the front. But then when Shandi approached me and Victor and those guys came in, and I had this like really just interesting, not existential, but just this like really interesting out of body moment where, these individuals are coming to us because we are good at what we do. We foster, develop athleticism and make bad motherfuckers badder. And we've done that better than anybody for over a decade, if not longer. And as those guys came in and humbled themselves and shit, dude, this isn't easy, and asked them to do a lot of fucking hard shit, especially with on the Echo in terms of our conditioning bikes. The one thing that made me feel a little disingenuous, and I'm always in this constant imposter syndrome. Even as an NFL player, you go out and you fucking beat the best dude in the world, and you sit in your locker after and like, am I really as good as I think I am? So I believe that there's this constant imposter syndrome, having these individuals come in, and these dudes are bad at what they do. I mean, they're legit.
Bad means good in this scenario.
They are fucking legit at what they do, some of the best in the world. But then feeling like a little bit of an imposter that I don't know, I haven't learned I haven't humbled myself to do what they've done. So realizing that, going up and doing that, then realizing that this competition piece, it would wakes me up, helps me get in shape, helps me have focus, everything for this end goal, which is to be more competitive in what I'm doing. And realizing that I got to show up and compete every time I roll in there. So it's about learning the information and using it, but it's also about being consistent because people are expecting you to show up. Real quick, once you get into jits, at least for me, people are like, what days are you coming? I want to train with you. And so you get real consistent. Like as soon, as we're leaving, every time we see those guys, what day are you showing up? I'll be there. And it's turned into a pretty good community for that reason. But I really feel like for me personally, and maybe other people aren't as competition driven as I am, but I need something to battle for. I mean, 22 Jack Street worked the way it did because there was a culmination at the end of 22 Jack Street. We had to step in the bod pod. There was a competition. So having some more competition and environment, and especially some individuals that are training for some shit, has been very, very important for me to rekindle something that I had just kind of not really pushed aside, but just thought like, oh, you were doing it in other ways. No. You got to have something that you're waking up, something that's driving you towards a goal.
Yes, and we find a way to test that in training programs. Feel Strong, we got 2 tests a year. So those can be self-competitions. Those can be competitions to other people in the training programs.
What we've done very well is created a robust training environment for the individuals following our training programs by being able to put cycles together, put tests in different tests and retests, and then being able to have a leaderboard, even though the leaderboard has caused some issues because people constantly are fucking up entering the information. And I'll default that I believe that people just make errors. But really what people have done a good job of is finding people that are similar to them within the numbers. And then they end up having, these little small competitions. I think competition is so important. It's so underrated. But the problem is everybody's in this weird, health and fitness and look good, and everything's about like this image that you're projecting through social, and it's vapid. It's broken. And I think you as an individual have to be able to throw a stake in the ground and say, this is what I'm training for. This is what I'm going. This is the end game. And you have to feel that if I don't put the work in, eventually that day's going to come. And I'm going to stand up on stage. Like one of my favorites is, have you ever seen those pictures of like at a bodybuilding competition where there's like one dude who didn't get in shape, or like one guy who just like spoofed it and showed up, and all the dudes would be shredded and one guy's all white and out of shape? Like that's the fear. You have to have that fear. I mean, think about when you went to college or even high school. Like there were finals. There was always a culmination of this information. You have to learn it because there's going to be a test at the end that you're going to be graded on. I think without some definitive test or something, what are you training for? And more importantly, what's the outcome?
And the importance of community is that it doesn't turn into, this is a strong word, but a toxic situation. Mm-hmm. So community should be supportive. It should be a friendly competition. So if we're aiming for each other, we are pushing each other, and both of us are getting better because of it. It's not blame or there's no way you got this. It's not complaining. It's not, defending. My life is this, my life is that. So I wasn't able to hit that number. You got lucky. So we're aiming to help create a healthy community that then drives competition and makes each other better. Because we've had people that, we've come in contact with or have training and coaching and teaching experience with that create a negative experience, which then brings our training down. Like the energy, I'll quote Lindsay Matthews here, is the energy is bad and it brings our whole team down, versus a healthy sense of competition and a little bit candor where we're ragging on each other a little bit to elevate and lighten the mood, but it's still a competitive nature. So aiming to create that on the training feeds versus like a bitch and moan complain experience.
I think in today's day and age, we almost have to make a segment of community because there's this online, social, virtual community that I think we're plugged into, whether it be the Power Athlete training programs that we push out, which are virtual in many ways. Also, within our Block One network, we have coaches and a methodology online, and those individuals that exist in different places. But yet, we're still connected within an online community, and then we do come together for big events, which I feel is so much more rich. I think when we start talking about community, there needs to be an interesting balance of, obviously, this virtual community, this virtual world we'll tie it into based upon interests, identities, or more importantly, things that I belong to. But a bigger picture is actually the physical community that we're tied to, because it's very easy as men, and I laugh that there's a ton of different podcasts and Instagram pages about fathers and this and getting in shape and dad bods, and there's like a whole like weird community for this. But realistically, as men age, they tend to become very solemn, almost like lone wolves. Women do a much better job of keeping friendships and staying current and really engaging their friends, and just better at creating those groups. Men tend to become very solemn and just kind of their friends fall by the wayside, and they don't do a good job of establishing community. My dad was a lifelong Rotary member, went to Rotary every week for 50 plus years. And
is that like the Elks Club?
It's like a service club, but through business. So that like the Rotarians do, I don't know, charity stuff. But my dad got into scuba diving with these Rotarians and traveled the world and had scuba diving trips, and they would go to baseball games, and they had all these service stuff and meetings and the whole deal. And it was very important. He was a member of the California Bar Association. There was a breakfast club. There were different men's groups that my dad was always very into, that were, kind of agnostic of his family, different than his wife. And I believe that stuff's super important. Whether it be, through your church, whether it be through your CrossFit gym, maybe, your jiu-jitsu gym, whatever it looks like, but realizing that iron sharpens iron. And for you as an individual, and especially as a man, it's important to maintain those relationships and have people around you that are, bringing something different of value to the table. The age-old cult leader where, I have my influence group that sits at my feet and I get to pontificate and talk about how great I am and, give everybody else advice, I think is very one directional. I want to be surrounded by like-minded individuals that are extremely talented in other ways that are forcing me to up my game. I think Jits has been good. For the fact that I get to show up and learn a new skill, and I get to meet a bunch of new individuals that I might not have had access to. So there's a new community of individuals to associate with. But I think that needs to happen in other ways, whether it be within education, within coaching, but not just calling people on the phone or emails or this, like actually engaging with individuals and having meaningful conversations. Something I forever am nervous about. Like, how am I supposed to improve? How am I supposed to improve my education or deepen my well of knowledge? Is it through absorbing information, through podcasts? Is it reading new books? Whatever. At the end of the day, like sitting around, the proverbial campfire and engaging in discussions, trading ideas, is really how we've evolved. And more importantly, I think the only way I'm going to deepen my pool is to be around people smarter than me. What's the age old, if you're the smartest person in the room, find a new room. If you're the strong.
That's why you hang out with me.
Well, Tex, as much as I do hanging out on you, you are not necessarily one to ask me a philosophical question to push me in different ways.
What are you talking about? It's Power Athlete Radio.
No, like yesterday, I like that. We do it within the confines of this, but it's not like we go over and on a Friday and sit there and drink beers and you're like, so what do you think about life?
Yeah, because you're off going to jiu-jitsu and I'm sitting there drinking alone.
Well, I'm taking you to jiu-jitsu with me. And then you get choked out by a fucking big-ass white belt that was over there on you.
Well, yeah. What's less than a white belt? I don't even own a belt.
But I do my best, hopefully, to provide community. But I think it's important. You do it within the social context for your lacrosse, but also
and strength conferences. So I do highly value those. And then what's cool is I get to make friends and then bring them on Power Athlete Radio. So Joel Rather, the latest example here. Yeah. Awesome pod.
I've been talking to Tom Newman at least 2 to 3 days a week.
Yeah. So connected with Tom at the conferences, and
he's become an incredible resource and just such a sharp cat. But that part of actually having community and sharing, and then being able to support your friends and be around them. So Steve Weatherford just tried to run 100 miles, and he had a bunch of men from his church group that I guess I'll get together and train that were support. And I think he ended up going 65 miles in 17 hours. So he didn't necessarily meet the goal, but he had a cast of characters that were there every step of the way supporting him. And
the guys that were hanging out on miles 66 to 100.
I don't know if I'm going to condone a 100-mile race, but I think you got to have road dogs. You got to have people that you're ready to roll with. And the problem a lot of times, and like we said earlier, men tend to be very solemn. So you gotta extend out there, whether or not you go join a club or do something. But I think having community outside of the confines of virtual internet, social media, email, podcast,
yeah, I'm betting big against the metaverse. Fucking yeah, go find friends and touch them, give them a hug, touch tummies.
It seems overwhelming, but you have to remember a lot of people are praying for the metaverse. So think about this. I heard a pretty interesting.
I'll give you 60 seconds to go down the rabbit hole, and I'm going to pull you right back out. Go for it.
So during COVID, during lockdown, the amount of people that I've talked to that actually were ecstatic that they didn't have to leave their house and that they didn't have to engage in this, and they were forced. I believe there were more people than we know that were somehow relieved that they didn't have to put on, clothes, or they could wear in sweatpants. They didn't have to worry about this, and they could, they didn't want. There were people that were more than okay to pull back from society and not engage. And I don't think you improve yourself in any way in that way. I think you have to go out and engage people. You have to meet them, and you have to search for community. I think it becomes more and more difficult as the older you get. And I know when we lived in Newport Beach, obviously we lived in a neighborhood. Now that we live out on a piece of land, community's a little more difficult. But Kate's done a great job with all the people at the barn and just engaging them. And just for the fact that all these JITS guys have been coming to train with us, and now we have new community and new friends and just new individuals to engage with, has been extremely important, I believe, for me as an individual. And then also, to constantly, and I know, dude, it sounds crazy, the imposter syndrome, even as a 10-year NFL player, I still had it, but to really see the efficacy of the training program and the power athlete model for athleticism utilized on these individuals, and not only seeing them progress in the weight room, but then actually going and training with them and seeing them within the confines of the sport they do, and seeing the growth that they've made in such a short period of time almost makes me think this stuff is almost cheating.
Oh, yeah. I see it with lax dudes. And this confidence that comes from their utility, their ability to move, and their success in their physical endeavors. It gives you goosebumps. And you can't claim it. We can't say, oh, we did that. But, we have the idea that we're seeing this stuff unfold after a certain amount of time and expressed at the highest level of competition that they're facing, and that they have confidence doing that, you can feel good about it.
Yeah, after we saw Gordon Ryan roll at that flow event, and then, obviously I know Coach Cab's been coming down and working with those New Wave guys. I ended up plugging in on some of John Danifer's stuff, who's their coach, who's kind of a Zen Buddhist of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, just a really interesting coach. But he had some interesting statements about confidence that I thought were actually extremely insightful. And actually I could relate to myself as an NFL player. Confidence, and more importantly, the confidence that I have the ability to do something, it isn't something mental. It ends up stacking and coming from having done the physical body of work that allows you to be successful. The reason I have confidence isn't because I've somehow cultivated a mindset or I've built mental toughness. No, it comes from the fact that I've done the work that was necessary for me to be successful, and I have been successful within the training environment to go out and be successful within the the pinnacle of my sport. So for me as an NFL player, the training we did in the off season was always much more severe than whatever it looked like on Sunday. The age-old Louis Simmons, master kung fu, the training must be severe. Mm-hmm. I knew going into training camp that nothing I would do in training camp would be as hard as what I did in the off season within our training with Ralph. And then when we got to the game, I knew that what I was going to do in the game wasn't as difficult or as demanding as what I'd done within the lead up to it. So there was a confidence when I walked out there. I was always nervous, but it wasn't like I was nervous because I hadn't done the work. And the guys that I saw that were nervous on game day was because they had not invested and done the preparation needed to make themselves successful. So I believe Danifer's statement was talking to Lex Friedman, why is Gordon Ryan so good? Why is he so cocky? Why is he so confident? And Danifer was very simple. It's like he has every right to be, because he's done the work. He's been successful. He's tapped and worked with the best dudes in the world, and he knew what he did in training wasn't going to be as hard. So why wouldn't he be as confident as he needs to be? And a lot of Danifer's statements in that podcast were extremely hit home with me, because it was very close to how I viewed my own NFL career. And this idea of mastery and that piece, man. But you have to have people around you, and this is another community piece. You can't have people around you that are just yes men. You can't have people around you that are just like, you're the best, you're the best. The proverbial hanger-oners as an NFL player, the guys that just want to be in your entourage. And the one thing that's been pretty nice about training with Victor and Shandi and these cats is they are extremely honest of skill set, who you are, and whether or not it's good or whether or not it's bad. And I always ask them, like, yo, man, you're not going to hurt my feelings. I want an honest assessment. If I can't do something or something sucks, tell me it fucking sucks. But don't just tell me it sucks. Show me how to be better. And then having that blind desire or passion or just focus to try to better yourself at every point when you walk through, I think it's the only way that you reach mastery.
Yeah, and last note on community, it's also important to find people, I'm not saying yes man, but people to still lift you up. Because, dude, there's communities out there that drag you down into their shit and pull away and give you hard times for making, we'll call it healthy choices for training, for nutrition,
like
etc.
who?
I'm not going to name names, but giving you hard times for not choosing to go out drinking, to not choosing to, do things that take away from education, training, and all the things that we said in our first Move the Dirt segment.
Funny anecdote. I knew that the guys had really taken hold and were really embracing this entire, kind of power athlete mantra within the training space, and just kind of the whole attitude. And that there was a birthday party that all the guys went to, and Arash and Victor and all the dudes basically just like Irish goodbye, just dark manned them out the door and didn't have drinks because they knew that we were doing conditioning the next day, and they didn't want, one, they didn't want to show up late, two, they didn't want to miss out on sleep, and three, they didn't want to have drinks because they knew it was going to be fucking awful. And they showed up, and I heard that these guys darked out, didn't have drinks, and when they asked them, hey, you having a drink? They're like, no, it's going to be awful tomorrow, and I'm not going to dig myself in a hole. So hearing that was meant that we were instituting the right set of values and pushing them in the right direction, and they're the individuals that we thought them to be, which was exciting for me.
Mm-hmm. Which leads us to our next point here. It's okay to not have all the answers.
Oh, man. This is...
Explain us this one, because you're a man that people seek to for the answers.
Yeah. The idea that of a man that, you're this strong, put my shoulder to the wind and keep pushing, and this unmovable thing, and the head of the family and all this other stuff. It's fucking exhausting. And I think it's this feeling of this 1950s value of what a man should be, and that any deviation, and this idea that you have to be able to take care of this. And, the Chris Rock had a great bit where he said, men are only valued if they can provide something. Everybody wants to help women and children, but fucking men have no worth unless they can provide. And that's a fucking tall order. And when people come to you, they're expecting you to give all the answers and that you have all the answers. And there's a vulnerability in feeling like, man, I hate feeling that. I'm like, why should I always have the answers? Now, if it comes into the training space and you come to me and you're like, how do I get bigger? How do I get stronger? How do I do this? You're going to have 4 billion Instagram pages that are all parroting the same shit we've been saying for many, many years. But the biggest reason that people don't make good on this stuff isn't for the mere fact that they don't have the necessary information. It comes down to perseverance. They just can't implement it. Everybody knows that, you got to eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, and you got to do this and this and this. It's very real to look at the plan in place and actually find a way to weave the plan into your daily being. And when you're, the older you get, and let's say you're, let's say you're a father of 3 and you got a husband or a wife, and you're a husband and you have a business, all these other things, all of a sudden your time gets cut down very small. So now you have to become extremely strategic. If I'm a, 49-year-old dude who's divorced, who's living in an apartment that, that I have nobody looking for me, nothing to do other than maybe just go to the gym and do different things. It becomes very simple. But when you start adding more and more complexity, you have to be very strategic with it. So this feeling of you got to have all the answers it's fucking overwhelming. And I think where that hit me had to do more with the type 1 diabetes deal, in that I read Dr. Bernstein's book. I poured in, and the amount of information that I've digested in relation to type 1 diabetes is nauseating. I have to be able to, put a series of a plan in place and have the answers in this. It just feels fucking overwhelming. And I think there's a vulnerability in admitting, like, I don't fucking know. And, because as a parent or a father or, business owner, people expect you, they're coming to you for the answers. And, and then is there is there shame in saying, like, I don't fucking know. I don't know what we should do. I've looked at all the information and I'm more confused now than I've ever been, which is really just that type 1 diabetes thing. You just look at it and like you have a plan and you think it should work out and it doesn't. And there's a feeling like, fuck man, I don't know what the answer is. We're just going to keep plugging away. And then you just, when you make a mistake, you chart it down and you try to not make that same mistake twice. Whether it be in the business space too, like, hey, does it make sense to, do X, Y, and Z, or what do you do? I don't know, but I'll tell you what I do know, which makes a successful business, is providing good information, being authentic, speaking from a place of actual knowledge and compassion and giving. I think breeds for a pretty good business. I mean, I did the job. I played in the NFL, which, you think about it within the training space, and then retired from that. And then we traveled the world and taught hundreds of seminars around the globe, instituting different training programs, within the CrossFit football deal, worked within that community, worked within Power Athlete. We fucking worked a lot and tested and seen a lot of stuff and are pretty accurate in terms of describing this deal for human performance, just because we did the legwork. I just didn't try to fucking set up an app and take a picture and post it up there with something that we pirated. We literally built this on the ground with individuals.
Or lie about PEDs.
Yeah, well, the liver. Oh man, I'm so glad we didn't have to talk about the Liver King, because I just don't care.
Well, this leads me to our next point here that you have. Question everything.
Yeah. So number 5, and I don't know if it's a resolution or just something that's solidified. Now this goes back many years. This is Berkeley. This is as a young freshman, sophomore at Berkeley in these classes, being taught that the secret to the scientific method and the secret to understanding anything is approach everything from this is bullshit and then work backwards. If you just blindly accept everything, then it becomes very difficult. If everything you approach to, everything that's presented, you kind of put on your bullshit meter, or your, you put on your lens, and you think, I don't know, I'm going to take this one a little slow. I think this looks like bullshit. And working back, I really think you are a lot farther along. What scares me is how easily people are willing to blindly lead or blindly follow people that, one, have no vested interest in their survival, don't know them, and have proven to be dishonest many times in the past. So, you think about, you can do a basic Google search and see things like Operation Paperclip and, seeing how like the, CIA's infiltrate or, works within the media. This was all stuff.
As one example, we don't have to get into it.
I'm just saying. But, we know that through history, we're not given the whole truth. But yet people are so blind into following and just not taking what's the right word? Just a very nuanced stance on everything. Why is this information being presented to me? How does it work in this individual's favor? And more importantly, is this accurate? And, just for the same right, like if you were to take your car to a mechanic, are you just going to drop the car off and be like, I don't know, something's wrong, tell me what it is? Right? And then the guy comes back and goes, you got this, this, and this. Great, just do it. No. You know what you do? If there's a problem, you take it to maybe 3 mechanics and you try to, take it to one guy, he gives you one, you go to another, you give it to a third, and then you basically sit back, you look at those 3 and you look for the commonality or the one that makes sense. You just don't blindly drop your car off at a mechanic and say, hey, fix something. So I'm amazed where people do it with, they do it with food.
Doctors.
They do it with doctors. They do it within, within politics and health and all the other stuff. Like, you as an individual are the captain of your ship. You are you are navigating your ship. And if you're, the head of your family, you have all these, whether it be a wife or husband, whatever it is, these people are depending upon you. And you, like I said, you don't have to have all the answers, but you also don't have to just blindly follow people that are disingenuous and could be full of shit. Like, you have to be comfortable with the direction you're going. Like, if I get in the car and we're driving a certain direction, I got to be comfortable that direction is going to get us where we want to go, and we're going to be able to get there at a reasonable time in a reasonable manner. So I think my number 5, and it's not, I don't even think it, I know, is you just got to question everything. And if you do have a question, reach out to the person, just like happens every day on Power Athlete. Within our training programs, within our info, within our emails, people email or ask us within DMs or on the programs. They ask questions about the training. They ask questions about this. And and maybe in the past, I know in CrossFit football land, we were maybe a little pricklier. People tended to fucking land-based people, but that hasn't been that way for many, many years. I am ecstatic when somebody wants to ask me a question, or more importantly, why does this work like this, or question me in any way, because I will gladly engage in it because I want them to have the best information. I sit here and have all this. If I don't share it, what good is it? So if you are involved in anything, question it. And the people that are providing you the information should be willing at all costs to provide you the answers you're looking for. And then from there, have a nuanced, intelligent discussion on it. If you want to discuss training or you want to look at volume and other stuff, let's rap about it all. And I get real nervous when people go, no, just trust the science. Just do what I say. Do what I say. Don't ask questions. Do what I say. And just shut people down. And when people start asking questions, well, why is this? Why is this? And then you see them get shut down or shunned or attacked or whatever. That makes me real nervous. I think that everybody should be able to ask questions and be able to have a nuanced discussion. So question everything.
Yeah, and there's a Descartes quote, and it's in Latin. I'm going to butcher this. De omnibus. I can't even try this. You're a Latin person.
Yeah.
But doubt everything is the Descartes.
Yeah. Omnibus, dub, and tendium.
It's not as easy as cui bono.
De omnibus. Hey. Yeah. So it's question everything. Part of being an existentialist and some of the philosophies that I have really identified with, whether it be the Stoics or whatnot, there's always an idea, this overarching thing of what's the end game? What am I trying to accomplish? Does this make sense? And a lot of times I hear things and they make no sense. That's the ethos, pathos, and logos piece. So I don't believe truth is a bad thing. And I think people that hide the truth, or more importantly, don't provide you the answers, I think you got to look for new people.
Which leads us to our last piece here. Truth. Strive for authenticity and destroy mediocrity.
I don't want to be surrounded by disingenuous people. I want to be around authentic people. I want to be in an authentic relationship. I want to have authentic relationships with my kids. I want to, be vulnerable and, have not superficial conversations and interactions with those around me. I don't want to have superficial conversations on this podcast. I want to, not just get shined on and given, hey, this is what the press junket said. I want to know interesting things, and I want to engage with people on a personal level. And I think anything less than that is just fucking mediocre. It's just mediocre. And, that word mediocre is kind of interesting when people think, well, it's kind of middle. I had a funny one years ago. What was it? One lick of the lollipop of mediocrity and you suck for life. There is real strength in striving to avoid mediocrity, like being really good at something, not just being okay to be okay. And I think the only way you're going to get there is by having authentic people around you that are honest with you and have your best interest at heart. Like, you bring somebody on that evaluates, let's say, your podcast or the way you're communicating or the way you're preparing or, your conditioning or whatever. You got to have people around you that are striving for you to be the best version. Like, let's say, I'll use jits for example. You go up there, like I said, my conditioning wasn't good enough. I need to tighten my shit up. But having somebody there who's well skilled that can even tell you, like, hey, you didn't do this well, but let me show you how to do it better. You need to improve upon this skill. These are the foundations. These are the basics. You got to have more.
That's also interested in your success.
Yeah, but think about, like, whether it be a gym or this. I mean, people's usually their first inclination is to protect their money. So, like, let's say you bring in a student or an athlete, or you're working with somebody. How many, the RG3 effect, right? Like, the trainer didn't tell him that, your instability, your position was this, because he didn't want to hurt his feelings. He didn't want to lose his job. I will stand firm on the premise that, as whether it be a coach or a sensei or an instructor or an educator or whatever, that you have to keep that agnostic of the success of your student. Like, if I tell them, like, I can't tell them that they suck at this because then they're going to leave them or lose their money. I don't think you can live your life like that. I think as an individual, let's say working with our athletes, I have to give them the poison pill. I have to give them the hard truth. Like, you can't do this, or you don't do this well. We need you to do it better, and you're not giving me.
Well, you're also not motherfucking them, and we can reference all the coaching scars. That's what I'm saying.
Well, so there's a fucking difference, right?
There is,
like,
and that's what we're
like that's what I meant about authenticity. I think the coaches that I've had that just motherfucked people was because, one, they didn't care. They were extremely frustrated with who they were as individuals, and it takes a lot of emotional and mental investment to take an athlete on a journey and to actually engage and, like, invest in them. It's easier just to, like, tell them what to do, and if they don't do exactly what you want, fucking motherfucker and yell at them. It's superficial. It's like it's like I don't know, man. It's like fast food, just showing up, throwing your money at the person and then handing you whatever they hand you. I want to, like, invest in it. Like, I want these individuals, I want them to go on a journey to, like, understand themselves and better themselves in such a way that they understand the nuance of what we're trying to do. Just bringing somebody in, having them do something and tell them they don't do it and motherfucking and being an asshole about it, like that one, it doesn't appeal to me. Two, it's not going to endear me to you, and I'm not going to get better from it. And at this point in my life, if something is not going to better me as an individual and sharpen my blade, I don't have fucking time for it. Right? I got enough shit to do. I'm not going to go over and nurture some shithead's fucking inner child because he wants to, because he had a bad relationship and doesn't understand or had a bad day. Like, when your athletes show up or you're training individuals, you're taking them on this journey, you owe it to them to give them what they, what you're going to provide, which is, to take them on a journey to make them better and to invest.
Yeah. And it's also something to say to the people that are following the training in their garage, because they are willing to put forth the time, the energy, the effort. They're creating their own training space within their homes, and they're willing to seek it out and follow an appropriate program that they can trust.
I love our people. I love our Power Athlete Nation. I like the people that follow our training programs are the best people on the planet. And I only know this because they hit me up, whether on emails, on socials. I get to see their gyms. I get to see their environments. They reach out, and every single one of them I would gladly go train with and be friends. I mean, it's pretty inspiring, the amount of people that are, like, fit within this demographic that, like, we'll shoot video of them in their garage and you'll see, like, a laundry machine and kids running by and this. I love it. And I feel so much pride. And, dude, I feel so stoked that, I tell them this within the training programs, I'm so stoked I get to take you on this journey.
It's not easy to do. Training alone, training solo, we see that as an excuse often from folks. Oh, I want to go to the group. I can't train alone. I can't do this. I can't do this. And that's not the culture and the environment and the Power Athlete Nation that we're building. We're providing the opportunity and putting people in a position to find solutions to then empower their performance. So a quick recap, and then we'll send all our listeners on their way.
Yep.
Our top 5 here, top 6.
I'll break them down. We end up with 6, but the evolution of Move the Dirt. You got to have a plan. We're just not randomly slinging dirt from one pile to the next. You got to have a strategic plan
for each aspect of your life.
Yeah.
So it's not just a training plan,
No.
a nutrition plan.
Yeah, it's nutrition, it's training. I mean, even the fact, like, if you want to have a healthy marriage, make sure you put a plan in place to still date your wife. Education wise, like, what is increasing my education? Whether it be digesting podcasts, reading, I don't know. Like, there should be places where you should be able to read books and go argue with people like we did in college. So I think have a plan in place so that you're moving dirt efficiently. For me, and I really think for all of you guys, finding something to compete in. Just competing in the idea of looking good on vacation or maybe dropping your body fat, it just isn't fucking who we are. Like, you got to have something. I mean, training for vanity and health is great, but like, at the end of the day, man, like, we're still athletes, and I'll be an athlete till the day I die. And athletes have some form of competition. It's a definition with an athlete. Like, you'd be able to have to do something athletic, but actually have it culminate within something that forces you to be ready on that single day. Number 3, you got to find a community. The virtual community that exists within social media and all this is great, and I'm very fortunate for what we've created, but I still need physical representation. I still need to engage and talk to people face to face. I need to go out and find like-minded individuals that hold me to a standard. And whether, like my dad, joining a Rotary group, or joining a jiu-jitsu gym, or whatever it looks like, a fight gym, boxing. I know there's some great ones here around Austin, but finding individuals that are willing to put themselves in the crucible, and people that'll give you honest feedback and honest opinions, and give you what you're giving them, and meet you halfway is so important. Number 4, you don't have to have all the answers. There's okay with vulnerability and admitting that you don't have all the answers, but just admitting you don't have the answers doesn't get you off the hook. What that means is, I don't have the answers and I don't know everything, but I also have the intelligence and the game plan in place so that I can effectively go out and answer those questions and be the person that the people around me need me to be. Number 5, question everything. We are being shoveled so much information so quickly. I don't believe at any point in history have we been force-fed this much information, whether it be within Twitter, within Facebook, within Instagram, all these different social media platforms, emails, this. I mean, there's just so much coming at us that I believe the only way you're going to survive is if you put up the bullshit meter and you question everything, and then you only let through what comes through, which appears to be authentic and real. From nutrition to politics to social to this, I mean, everything just looks so shitty. I'm telling you, got to question everything. If you don't, you're going to drown. You're going to believe everything. You're going to get yourself in a bad place. Number 6, strive for authenticity and destroy mediocrity. Don't be average or below average. Don't be okay with just being mediocre at stuff. Strive now. Here's the deal. You might never master it, but it doesn't mean that the intent isn't there. And just look for authentic people and authentic things. I don't want to waste my time like in shitty things or things that don't improve upon who I am. And I don't want to waste my time on people that are literally energy dementors, that are just going to suck the life force out of me. So find like-minded people, strive for authenticity, and fuck mediocrity.
This episode of Power Athlete Radio is powered by Train Heroic, the most immersive strength training app experience on the market.
We've built our online training business by partnering with Train Heroic and helping us deliver all of our world-class training programs like Jack Street, Field Strong, and Grindstone. To learn which Power Athlete training program best suits your goals, head to powerathletehq.com/training.
And if you're a coach looking to build a business with the best tech and training, go to trainheroic.co/powerathletehq. And now back to the show. And there we have it. This is kicking off a series of Mood the Dirt podcast. We had to kick it off with Power Athlete founder and CEO and 10-year NFL athlete John Welbourn. But we got some fun guests on tap to explore many different barriers that people have created for themselves and how to break through it so they can move dirt daily. Thank you for tuning in to Power Athlete Radio. Bye.
Bye.